Sean Bentley.
What's up, CFO gang? It's your boy Jay Tuck, and you are now tuned into the Cowboys Fans Only channel. So if you're new, do me a favor, man. I need a huge favor for everybody who's watching this show. Comment, like, subscribe, somewhere down there, somewhere down there, somewhere down there. And be sure to turn on that notification bell so you can stay updated with all Dallas Cowboys content. And for all of my subscribers who've been following this channel for so long, I appreciate all the support, man. Like I said, this channel is growing at a rapid pace, and I cannot do this without you guys, man. I appreciate all the support, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on Reddit, whether it's on YouTube, whether it's on CowboysFansOnly.com, and you're supporting, you're getting your merch, man. I appreciate each and every one of you. But tonight, fellas, we got a real fun guest, and this guy is one of my favorite people on Twitter. And if you guys go back when I spoke about the article that I wrote for the Cowboys Wire about Asante Samuel Jr. versus Greg Newsome. My guy Mike was one of the guys who reached out to him. He's like, Tuck. You got to write this article. You're a Florida State guy. You know Asante Samuel, so let's dive in. So I had to bring him on, man. My guy, Mike Crum. So further ado, Cowboys Nation, CFO gang, let's give a warm welcome to my guy, Mike Crum, man. What's going on, bro?
What's going on, man? Aggressively nerdy white guy wave.
Hi, guys. Yeah,
I got
man.
something for y'all here, too. Look.
Yeah.
So Dallas Cowboys shot. There's some whiskey to get us going. So yeah, here's to you.
It's the week. During the week, we drink Gatorade, right? We get our electrolytes. But on the weekend shows, that's when we pour it for Ciroc, man. But shouts to you, man. Like I said, Mike is one of the incredible writers for the Dallas Cowboys Wire, and he also does a podcast as well. Great guy. Always has great content. Always great stuff on Twitter. So I had to bring him on and talk about a few things. So like I said, Mike, when we last kind of interacted, it was about the NFL draft. And so everyone who watches my channel, they got my take on the NFL draft. But I want to dive in, Mike. What is your thoughts on the NFL draft, the 2021 Dallas Cowboys NFL draft, and how did the Dallas Cowboys do from your perspective? Because I know you were diving in heavy just like I was. What was your thoughts after the draft?
And they were making us nervous first, right?
Right.
They get another high ground, a high pick on a linebacker. We're like, another linebacker. And then they kind of, they a little reach on a couple guys on day 2. That 99 pick, right? All of us are like, oh, man.
Right.
But they came through, man, on day 3. Jabril Cox, Simi Fehoko, my guy, Quentin Bohannon.
Right.
Finally, we got a one technique. Oh, I love it. And Israel Mukwamwu, I mean, they hit some home runs in that day 3. And as a complete draft, when you look back through it, it's not as bad as maybe we first thought when we were like, another linebacker that early,
Right.
the day 2 picks didn't end up being so bad because when you look at it as a complete whole, you see the picture like, okay, get some big boys up front to clear your linebackers. And now you're bringing Jabril Cox. Maybe Jalen comes back without the offensive line getting to him. You got Parsons to make plays. If LVE stays healthy, you bring in Neal. So the complete plan kind of came together for Dallas once the thing was all done.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of my perspective for everyone who follows me. Like, draft day, I was kind of like, and especially that second day. That second day, Mike, to be honest with you, that was the gut punch. I was like, what the hell are we doing? And just like, from my perspective and also from your standpoint, we do so much work. I feel like it's kind of a gift and a curse sometimes when it comes to the draft because we knew what else was available on day 2 that we passed over. So we're sitting back like, this doesn't make sense. But as we saw the press conference with Dan Quinn, he kind of chimed in and had a few things to say. We finally heard from him. We started to see, okay, what is the end game when it comes to this defense and what is he looking to accomplish? So we all know he wanted to get bigger, more length, more size, more speed, and also more depth. Now, from my perspective, when I looked at this draft class, I thought that we should easily walked out with 3 day 1 solidified starters. Right now, I feel 1.5-ish, right? We got Parsons and Kelvin Joseph, Bossman, fat as they will on Twitter, of course. A lot of people are high on Bossman, but, what is your thoughts? How many, Tucky was pouting for a second. I was pouting for more than a second, man. Honestly, and because like I said, me and Mike had a full conversation in an article that we wrote about Asante Samuel Jr. versus Greg Newsome. Now, Greg Newsome was off the board, but my guy, Mike, he was there day 2, just sitting right there. And it's your guys' fault, right? Because here's the thing, Mike. I came in and I was going to wear my Knowles gear and all that. I was like, nah, we're not going to get Asante Samuel Jr. There's no chance he falls to us. And everybody who chimed into our draft show, shouts out to my Star Game fam, no, Tuck, he's going to be there. We're going to get him. And so I'm just sitting there early like, okay, he's sliding. And you guys built up my expectations only to let me down, so I blame you guys. But, what is your thoughts on Kelvin Joseph, and do you think he's going to be ready to be the day 2 corner right out the gate?
Was Diggs ready? Let me ask you that. Do you want him to be as good or better than Diggs was in his year 1?
I need him to be better than Diggs was initially.
And then he won't.
Oh, Lord.
He's going to be about that. He'll make some plays, but he's going to get beat because he's a rookie, and it's just how it is. Now, I had him, let me get my notes here. I had him as my 22nd ranked player. Okay. So to get him at 44, I just, the off the field things for me, Parsons had more off the field things for me. Josh Ball has off the field. Like right. I didn't think Kelvin Joseph had off the field. Right. I don't care if he wants to do music as Boss Man Fat. Right. Shut the guy down and then go do a record, a single on how you shut the guy down. I don't care. So I love him. I actually had him graded higher than Asante Samuel, and he just doesn't have. Asante Samuel doesn't have the length that they want. Right. So he wasn't a realistic option for them. We want him because we scout him, and we understand how good he's going to be. Right. But they got Nahshon Wright 99th because he's 6'4", and I mean, it's just how they see the draft. They're going for traits for Dan Quinn's system. And Asante Samuel, Elijah Molden, who was sitting there forever, like since pick 75, I was like, please get Elijah Molden. Please get Elijah Molden. You know, and they don't value people that we do. They value traits, and then they want to teach the traits. They want to coach the traits and build the player up. So it's just something we see different.
And I think that you've already seen that across the board from rookie camp, which we'll dive in here in a second, is that you see Dan Quinn being a lot more hands-on than what we saw from the previous coaching staff. And Dan Quinn alluded to that in his interview. He says, I was a teacher by trade. You know, if I wasn't an NFL coach, I'd probably been a teacher. So he likes to teach. And so that pretty much explains why he took on some of these kind of, you know, project type players, because he sees something in them as a kind of a mold of clay that he can build something out of it. So here comes to the conversation, Mike. And I'll ask you this because this has kind of been, now granted on Twitter, we can't be too optimistic about the season, right? We got to be doom and gloom. But do you think that Dan Quinn can actually mold this defense into being more formidable to what we saw maybe 2018 versus what we saw this past year, which was a complete cluster?
I think with an offense as good as Dallas has, I think if you can just get them around the 20 mark, okay, like they don't even have to be a top half team defense. You get them around the 20 mark, and they can get some turnovers. You know, get into the top 20 in turnovers. You're going to win a ton of games with this offense. This team is going to be led by that offense, and that offense is going to dictate how well the defense plays, because you can get ahead, make a passing team, and now Tank and Gregory and Parsons and Jalen and those guys can get after the quarterback. So I think Dan Quinn will be fine. I think the defense will be nowhere near what it was with Nolan. I don't expect them to be top 15, but I expect them to be around the 20 mark, and that'll be fine. Just get some turnovers, and they're going to win a shit ton of games.
Yeah, and I said that earlier today on Twitter. I think that we've been so focused this all season on fixing the defense. We forgot, y'all, how good this offense really is. I mean, if you think about it, if healthy, knock on wood, everyone grabs some wood and knock on it. You know, find whatever we can, right? If healthy, I feel like this offense is one of the best in the NFL. I mean, there really isn't holes. I mean, you can nitpick the left guard position if you want to, but for the most part, Connor Williams had a solid season last year. So with our offense intact, our defense doesn't need to be top 10. We can't get greedy. And I feel like Dan Quinn naturally, just by simplifying things, the defense is going to get better. I mean, honestly, I could improve the defense damn near. Like, all right, we're not going to be as all chaotic as we were last year. So I think naturally they're going to improve. Now, the question mark for a lot of Cowboys fans is there might be a lot of lumps earlier in the process. I mean, you mentioned kind of Boss Man Fat and some of these other players. It's going to take them a while to get their NFL legs up under them. So I think that you really won't see the full impact of Dan Quinn probably until that Raiders game in Thanksgiving, where you're saying, oh, okay, that's what you wanted to do with Chauncey Golston. Oh, okay. That's why you took Nick Wright at 99. I feel like things will start to connect and make sense kind of mid-season, hopefully, right? But I think earlier on, you're going to see some lumps, which kind of scares me as a Cowboys fan, because I felt like if the Cowboys would have just handled business in free agency, then that would have made this draft even more amazing, because you don't have to rush Boss Man out there. You don't have to rush, Osa, Adigi, Zua out there so early. But we feel like these players are going to have to be cornerstones of our defense, because we didn't do anything much in free agency. I mean, there's even talks today that's kind of been floating conversation. Is Keanu Neal now going to be the starter? I mean, we don't know. I know there's conversations about him being a projected will linebacker, but now the linebacker room has kind of got some more depth in that position. do you think that he's going to play and be a starter? So I think there's a lot of question marks defensively, but we really won't see the benefit of it until midseason. So I'm going to hop in the chat, man. Shouts out to everyone in the chat. My guy Carlos says, yo, what's up, my guy? Dre the Great, no more running in Dallas. Yeah, that's Big Bohannon's slogan, man. So hopefully he holds up that end of the bargain, man, because I can't see any more easy money. Oh, man, that was too much. My guy Carlos says hype for this season. Let me ask you, where do you stand, Mike? Are you hyped for the season, or are you kind of just doom and gloom thinking, I don't trust it?
If we have Dak Prescott, I'm hyped.
There you go.
Because we have the one quarterback in the division. And so if you can win the division, you're in the tournament. Right. Then Tampa Bay wasn't the best team. Mm-hmm. They won a game where they threw 3 interceptions, and then Kansas City got a whole offensive line hurt, and they ended up in the Super Bowl. So get in the tournament, win your division, get in the tournament, and we have the only quarterback in that division. So we just have to pretty much be good enough everywhere else, and our quarterback will take us over those other teams. I think once you get in the tournament, you never know what's going to happen.
Right. Just get there, man. Because I even said this last year, right? And I was kind of joking, but, kind of blind optimism. If we could have possibly got Dak back at the end of the season last year, like, we would have been a scary team. Like, Dak Prescott and this offense, and granted, the defense did have their struggles last year, but they were doing the one thing that you need to win solid games in the NFL is create turnovers. And so they were able to create turnovers. You give me my offense back with Dak Prescott, I feel like that would have put us right in the mix of things, but unfortunately, Dak's timetable was a little bit longer than we actually needed. But, I'm very optimistic, y'all, about this season. Y'all know my motto. Once the season starts, line them up. Let's knock them down. I fear no team. It is what it is. If I get dealt with, I get dealt with, right? But this contrast, and I see my guy Ron, Cowboys fan talk. What's up, bro? It's this whole thing about you can't be hopeful about the season. You need to be realistic, and we're not. I'm like, no. That's not how you do. That's not how you do football. That's not how we do on this channel. That's not how you do on your podcast. That's not how you do on other channels. When it's football season, I don't give a damn who we play. Line them up and let the best team win. So shouts out to my guy Jonathan Sofo in the house. We're going to be there in Tampa. It is what it is. We might get 40 ball, but damn it, I'm walking out with my pride regardless, man. Mendoza, what's going on, bro? Dre the Great, Star Gang. Shouts out to the Star Gang fam. KMT, what's going on, bro? For a second, I thought that was Mike that bursted the doors with the leg kick. No, that's Mike Tag. This is Mike Crum, man. But Mike Crum keeps it hype too, man, as well.
Hello, Mike Tag, man.
Yeah, Mike Tag's my guy. Yeah, we're gonna link up when I'm out there in Tampa. So shouts out to Mike Tag, man. I'm definitely gonna have him back on the show, man. He brings the hype, man. Some days where I'm just like, I see him bust at the door. I'm like, all right, let's go, Mike. You ready to go? Let's go. Tyrone Church says, I'm sorry I did that. Yeah, man, you hyped me up on draft day. Only get me let down, man. It's all your fault, man. You owe me, bro. Roberto, my guy, Hot Boys out, Doomsday in. I don't want to go that far, you guys, to say Doomsday defense. That's pushing a little bit, but I will say this. What we need from this rookie core is a 2016 Dak Zeke type impact, right? I would like to have these young rookies come in that don't know any better and just come out and set the things on fire, right? And I've been saying this since the start, since we drafted Micah Parsons. He sets the tone. He's now the new leader of this new defensive core. He's kind of the anchor of us taking him at the 12th pick. So he sets the tone right now in rookie camp, and I think the other guys are going to follow around that. And I think a lot of these guys know that, like, the Cowboys defense was trash last year. So it's really on us to fix it. Like you said, Bohannon said no more running in Dallas. Like, they know what they're up against, and they know that Dan Quinn is going to give them an open season to compete, which I'm definitely a fan of. So I'm definitely excited about that. Just like the Chiefs, Mike, offense getting ahead, and it dictates how the D reacts and plays. Yeah, absolutely. So, my guy Tyler's a big Chiefs fan, so we'll deal with that on the 21st. Logs44, what's up, my hero? What's up, bro? The team you're afraid of in the division is the football team in their start. Fitzmagic has never made the playoffs. Yeah, I don't think Washington is the team that we should be looking over our shoulder about. I personally believe it's New York. How do you feel about that, Mike?
I feel injury is the only thing.
Right, injury, right. That's the one thing we should be picking over our shoulder about injuries, right?
If Dak's good, we should be gravy. Daniel Jones no good. Jalen Hurts, my buddy Anthony on Twitter told I kind of called Jalen Hurts a Section 8 Russell Wilson
right
on the podcast. So he's no good. And Ryan Fitzpatrick, he doesn't win anywhere. So yeah,
Right.
I'm not too worried about the division, honestly, this year.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, but here's my take, Cowboys fan, one game at a time, and personally for me, I like us kind of being this underdog role. You saw Zeke came out, he was rated 12th running back, and all sorts of slanders going on. Keep that same energy, because I feel like this Cowboys team does a lot better once they're back against the wall versus everybody throwing flowers at their feet and Super Bowl this and Super Bowl that. Keep it. I wanted people to think we're going to be 0-2 and that we're going to get blown out by Tampa and Zeke is washed and Dax. Keep that same energy. We'll see that when the season starts. So, Florida Cowboy, what's up, bro? We're going to beat Tampa. Yeah, man, I feel like it's going to be a competitive game, man. I'm not backing down from Tampa because just like, Tampa has weapons. We have weapons too, so they're going to have to match our offense just like we're going to have to match theirs. No more nicknames. Yeah, I agree, man. Just Dallas Cowboys defense. That's the new nickname, right?
Yeah.
Right, exactly, man. Shouts out to my guy, BJ Nix. What's going on, bro? Football team's defense is vastly overrated. I'm so tired of people acting like they are the Ravens. Yeah, but I think that's just kind of their imprint because of how they drafted. Everyone's just like, defense, and that's how they won. I mean, honestly, if we're being real, if the Eagles don't pull that tank job, the Giants probably won the division anyway last year. So it wasn't like the Washington football team just ran away with the division, and it wasn't that. The Eagles kind of gift wrapped in the division, man. So what I want to dive into next, Mike, is this rookie camp, right? So we're getting a lot of things starting to float around about some of these rookies. So who are some of the guys that you've been hearing about in the past 2 to 3 days? So you're thinking, okay, this might work.
You're gonna hear me poo-poo things real quick. Man, the worst thing in the world, Francis Bernard was gonna be our starting outside linebacker with Obi and Jalen a year ago, and Jihad Ward when we traded for him, and they just every year they go crazy at these rookie camps. Just get hype. Like, it's the time to get hype. I get it. I want you to get hype.
Right.
Get hype for Ohana. Get hype for Boss Man Fat. Like, get hype for Parsons coming off the edge. But just remember, it is rookie minicamp. Like, there's a reason we have other starters, and like, don't go too crazy on it. Is all I'm saying. Like, don't think that because Nahshon Wright's locking up undrafted free agents, being thrown to by JT Barrett, that all of a sudden you start over Boss Man Fat. So just
pump the brakes. Pump the brakes. And that's what it is. A lot of people are just excited. And I saw this. It's like, well, you guys were saying that. What did they say in the Star Game chat, Matt? It was like, you guys were saying Pitts is the next best thing because he was playing his college talent. And then when Jabril Cox gets an interception, you guys went, I'm like, bro, it's a drill. Like, I'm sure if I go out there on drills and I know they're going to pass it my way, I could bat a few balls down. Like, it's completely different. It's not game speed. It's just drills. But it's an excitement because we're about to go to this whole dark days of no football, no nothing. So I think a lot of people are just extremely excited. But let's pump the brakes. I know a lot of people are talking about, well, Jabril Cox got an interception versus JT Barrett. I'm like, it was a tip pass and a drill, the right place at the right time. I mean, good play. I mean, it's a football play. But, a lot of the guys that, we kind of have pinpointed out, the guy that I'm high on, and I know a lot of people aren't talking about him, is Chauncey Golston out of Iowa. Like, when I finally calmed down from my draft mass hysteria and being pissed off and came out of my slumber, I sat back and I watched this kid, and I love his motor. Now, I think we kind of spoke about this earlier. How does he really fit? Because you still have Basham, you have DeMarcus Lawrence, but I think he's going to be a rotational guy. So give me 2 to 3 guys that you think is going to be the first kind of core guys of this defense, Mike.
Well, obviously Tank. That one's the no doubt. The hate DeMarcus Lawrence gets blows my mind.
Right.
That guy is the hardest worker, plays injured, shows up, takes on people like he's a defensive tackle. Right. He's basically their guy that takes on double, triple teams. That's not supposed to be his job. He's supposed to be an edge rusher, and people wonder why he can't get to the quarterback. Like, he goes around the corner, and your DT doesn't get any push, and the quarterback steps up 3 steps and then can get around him. Like, with guys up front like Brent Urban, I love that signing. God, trust me, guys. Remember the name Brent Urban. My dad's a Bears fan. I watched him all year. He took the starting job about 8 weeks in. He is a monster. I watched him go double up against the Colts, against Quentin Nelson and Ryan, their center, but 2 badasses. they could not move the guy.
Right.
He is going to be really good. I don't know if because of the position, I don't know if he'll be a mainstay.
Right.
I would say Tank, Diggs, and then I'm going to put Donovan Wilson in there because I just see him as a playmaker. And I love him. I'm a stan. So I think those are going to be your three guys: one corner, one safety, one D line.
So you brought up Donovan Wilson. So let me ask you this: do you see him being better at what we currently have in house, right? At the strong safety position, or sliding him back to the free safety position?
You want him at the strong because you kind of want him up at the box. The good thing about him, though, he's adequate as a free safety.
Right.
He's not a great deep third guy. Like, you don't want to just put him in the deep third all the time. But if you're trying to like trick a quarterback and you make it to where he becomes the deep guy and the other safety blitzes or covers in the slot and somebody blitzes, he can do the job. That's what makes him good. But ideally, KZ. If KZ's healthy, he goes sideline to sideline. That kid would be a perfect pairing with Wilson as a free safety. Wilson is the strong safety.
Yeah, I think that's the hard part, but I think that I prefer Donovan Wilson at the strong safety. I just think Cowboys fans, let's keep it honest, we have just been clamoring for that true free safety type player for so long. We're just getting desperate, man. We're just feeling like, we heard Barry Church came out and spoke very highly of Israel Mukwamu. Matt O, did I get that right? Israel Mukwamu, right? Look at my pronouncing issue with some of these names, right? We heard Barry Church kind of speak highly about him. He's going to be possibly one of those guys going to be like a corner to free safety kind of shift. So I think the Cowboys fans, we've just been wanting that guy for so long. We just haven't had it. And me personally, to be honest with you, Mike, I'm kind of on the fence when it comes to DeMonte KZ from size, from what I've seen from his time in Atlanta. Now, granted, he can go to sideline and kind of be that guy that we haven't had, but is he that guy or is he a guy? And that's the difference, I feel like, when it comes to a lot of Cowboys fans with the safety position, and we haven't addressed it. And now, guys, I got off a call like I, season ticket holder, finally. Stephen Jones, he was on our phone call today, and he was talking to all the Cowboys fans, and they were asking questions, and they addressed him about the safety position. And he mentioned DeMonte KZ. He mentioned, what was the other kid? Curse that we brought in. And then he also mentioned Israel, and he also mentioned Reggie Robinson. So I'm going to say this, Cowboys fan, we're not getting no safety, man. Like it is what it is. Like, that was pretty much where I was like, all right, I'm getting off the phone. Like the SpongeBob meme. All right, I'm gonna head out. Like, all right, bro, we're not getting no safety. So I feel like we're gonna have to work with what we currently have in house. And so we really are going to need DeMonte KZ or somebody to truly emerge as that cornerstone free safety, and especially with some of the kind of corners that we have that are still kind of green with Boss Man, and also even Diggs going into second year. Single high coverage, you can't have too many mistakes back there because we went through that last year. We can't afford that again. So, I need KZ to step up and emerge. But I agree. I like Donovan Wilson at the strong safety position. I feel like he gives us a lot more being up there in the box. So let me ask you this, because the topic of discussion today has been about Jabril Cox. So I've seen some people saying that he should be the guy to move to safety, right? Because he, because he played a little bit at North Dakota State, and granted, he's kind of like a cornerback and a linebacker body and different things. What is your thoughts on Jabril Cox? Because he was the pick where I was pouting, and then day 3, the sun kind of came out for a little bit, the clouds moved, and I was like, all right, we're getting back to what I know, right? So what do you think Jabril Cox is going to bring to this defense, and how does he fit with this Dan Quinn scheme?
I think Jabril Cox will likely redshirt at first. He'll be a special teamer that'll redshirt until LVE goes down, and then he'll kind of cycle in and take some of those snaps along with Neal. I want people, Jabril Cox next year will likely be the starter along with Micah Parsons. But again, I want to temper people. He was a 4th-round pick. He should have been the pick at 75, but he was a 4th-round pick at 115, and he likely will not play a lot of snaps on the base defenses until LVE's hurt. They just have too many linebackers, and he's young. And so, yes, he's very good in coverage, but they brought Neal in to do that. So Neal's going to be Quinn's go-to. He's going to help transition Jabril Cox. And then by week 3, LV is going to be hurt, and then he'll start to get snaps. But as long as LVE stays healthy, expect Cox to be a special teamer and just be patient with it. Right. He's going to be really, really good. He has a specialty that is really hard to get in the NFL, and he will use it, and he will be going forward, be a big part. But just early on, temper expectation. Don't expect him to be the guy that they line up on Gronk in week 1 and say, hey, eliminate him. That's not going to be a thing that happens.
Right. So. Shouts out to my guy Nick Herrera. Man, I saw you going through it, bro. And sometimes when I see y'all going through it on Twitter, like I want to chime in, then I'm like, he got it. So, but yeah, man, I think that Jabril Cox will be a slow play. I don't think that he's going to come out the gate and have impact. Now, granted, things can always spark in camp, but I think he's going to kind of be, one of those players going to be slowly acclimated. So if it's up to me, who I think the 3 core guys here, as far as the rookies are concerned, would be Parsons, of course. You have Joseph. I honestly want to say this on Cam. I believe Joseph is the most important rookie that we drafted. Like, he has to work. If, Lord forbid, if he turns out to be Reggie Robinson and he doesn't make the field and we're going to be in a whole heap of trouble, as they would say, right? So I feel like Joseph right now, as things currently stand, he is the most important rookie that we drafted. And then my third would be Osa out of UCLA. I think that he's going to be one of those guys that can play across the board on the front 4 or 3, however you want to address it, according to Dan Quinn. So he'll be able to play defensive end, he can play a little bit of tackle, he can play a little bit nose, and be that versatile guy. So I think that those are our 3 core guys.
And fight.
And fight, yeah.
No, we're gonna fight right now.
Oh, okay. Let's roll them out, man.
Get ready, chat.
Let's go.
If it was a real fight, I'd get my butt whipped.
What's going on, Mike? So what, you disagree?
Internet fight. Quentin Bohanna, he is a enormous key. The whole thing with this team is their linebackers now.
Right.
And linebackers are like running backs. If your offensive line stinks, it don't matter how good your running back is.
Right.
If your D-line stinks, I don't care if you have a White from Tampa Bay.
Right.
He's not going to be any good, or he's not going to be as good as he should be. Bohanna and Brent Urban, the free agent signing, are going to be so huge for this team, because if they're able to eat double teams in a rotation, those 2 guys going in and out, it is going to clear up these linebackers. And we can say what we want. Jalen's fast enough in a straight line to make plays. He's increased his tackle total and his solo tackle total every year. He's had 80 plus solo tackles, and he's had 120, 140, and 150 regular tackles. So he can get around and make plays, just can't change a direction. So if you can get people in front of them, and now you had a guy like Parsons. Look, I didn't want another linebacker. Okay. Parsons can make plays. If there's nobody around him, he's a freak athletic.
Right.
So just that, Quentin Bohanna is probably my 2. I'm with you. You need the cornerback to be big time. You have to. But Quentin Bohanna is my 2nd, even more than the linebacker, because we have 6 linebackers basically that can play. But Bohanna needs to eat double teams.
Right.
And he's got to be able to hold up for a whole year. You talked about earlier how it's going to take a few weeks to get these guys acclimated. Also, they're going to hit a wall at some point.
Exactly.
They're used to 12 games, in college. So it's a tough spot to have so many young guys, but Bohanna needs to be able to eat up double teams all year, or we're going to be hurting.
Yeah, I agree. And I know people's been kind of, thinking about Bohanna might not even make the roster. I think that's BS. I think he's going to have to make the roster for the reasons that you said. Now, will he get caught up in that rotation? Because I think my guy Matt Owen, and shouts out to my guy Nick's for the super chat, man. I appreciate you, bro. I'll get to your question here in a second. But he says, Mike, rank these DTs by snap counts: Osa, Urban, Gallimore, Hill, and Bohanna.
Okay, Hill's the tough one.
Right.
Hill is the tough one because he could make the squad and start at 3 technique, or he could not make the squad.
Right.
People forget I just had a paper I did for Cowboys Wire where I was breaking down the depth chart, and Tristan Hill's one of the last guys I put on, because I'm looking like Rod Marinelli fell in love with this guy 2 years ago.
Right. Then
you had Nolan, then an injury, and now you have a totally different another defensive coordinator. So don't be shocked if somebody, if Hill doesn't end up making this team, don't let that shock you, So I would probably go Neville Gallimore, Brent Urban would be my top two.
Okay.
Tristan Hill is a wild card because if he makes the team, he's going to get snaps up there with Neville Gallimore.
Right.
And then Bohanna and then Osa. I think Osa will get some snaps a lot at the 3-4 DN and at the nickel defensive tackle. But I think that could be a guy that's more of a later rotation guy that comes in. Where Bohanna, you have in a 3-4, who else is your nose tackle? He's going to play.
Right.
Brent Urban is your starting one technique. So he's going to play. And Neville Gallimore, I would bet, is the starting 3 technique because he had the whole year last year to build in and play. He started more than Tristan Hill now. Tristan Hill was inactive and then got injured.
Exactly.
So that would be my rank of the 5.
Yeah, that'll be interesting thing to look out. And shouts out to my man Geechee. He says, I think 5D tackles make it. Hill might be left out. He's gonna be on the cusp, man. Like I said, he was kind of, like you said, inactive and then hurt last year. And, Marinelli is gone. Dan Quinn likes things a little bit different in the interior. So I think he's going to be in for another camp battle. But seeing what I saw last year from Tristan Hill, I think he'll be up for the challenge. So I think it's going to be some interesting things going on in camp that we'll definitely keep our eye on. Hill has 32-inch arms, doesn't fit the length and profile. Yeah, that's it, man. And we all know Dan Quinn, when some people say, I ain't got no type, Dan Quinn has a type, and he's sticking to his type, man, and so he might just miss out, so it's going to be interesting. So my guy Nick said year 2 is when I'm circling for Cox, so I can see that. That's where you're going to see the great impact of Jabril Cox. I'm very high on Jabril Cox. Like I said, he's from here in Kansas City. He's a KC barbecue guy, so he already has his great taste buds when it comes to barbecue. So he's an excited player that I'm looking to see watch. Like I said, Chauncey Golds is another guy. And of course, offense, right? Simi Fioco, a lot of people are kind of been high on this kid. So let me ask you this, Mike. What is your thoughts? How many wide receivers do you think that we're going to keep on this roster? Let's talk about the fun stuff of offense, because defense need a little job. So let's talk about offense. How many wide receivers do you think we're going to keep? Or do you think that one of them is going to get phased out that we're kind of accustomed to, whether that's Brown or Wilson?
I think Cedric Wilson will make the team. He's too good special teams. He's a guy that if one of the big 3 gets hurt, he can play outside for one of them or in the slot. So I like him as our 4th. I think Fioku might take the 5th spot. Noah Brown's on his last year deal. I think they saved $2 million if they end up cutting him, somewhere between $1 and $2 million. And I said this I guessed on the ATB Fantasy Show podcast, and I go, Fioku's a sneaky grab late that you stash for a year, because if you can't keep Michael Gallup, he reminds me of Alvin Harper. Like, you have Cooper, you have Lamb, and you stick this 6'4" guy out there that runs a 4.2, let's say, on a regular non-pro day, and you just send him deep and say, hey, if they don't put a safety over the top of him and they leave a corner one-on-one with our 6'4" guy that runs 4.2, throw it up and let him make a play. And so I think he's going to, as long as he isn't if he can't play special teams at all and just cannot help there, then Noah Brown's going to make it. But I think if he can show any type of special teams ability, they'll save that money. We know how much Stephen Jones loves
Mr. Krabs, man.
Follow
the money, like my guy Nick says. Follow the money, man. So let's see. Fresh Fade says Simi was getting locked up by Nashon in practice, completely locked down. Allen Iverson, man. Practice, man. We talking about practice. Now go back and watch the game, because they played each other when he was at Oregon State. But we want to talk about practice, not the game, but practice, man. But we'll see. I got 5, but I'm kind of leaning towards 6. I'm with you, Mendoza. Granted, the money though, but I just think Noah Brown and Wilson are kind of those special teams guys, and I think they don't let Simi be on the practice squad. I think they're going to keep 6. Now, it's going to be rough. But I think if we do move on, it would be Noah Brown, to be honest with you. I think Cedric Wilson will be the guy that stays. Like you said, he can do a lot more than what Noah Brown provides. And so we'll definitely have Simi on the roster. Word is over
from Iowa. Tuck, who's the kid from Iowa? Ask the chat. Brandon, I think something. The kid from Iowa that was lighting people up blocking. I would watch for him to be a sneaky one that might sneak in there, even if we let Brown go as a 6th guy. The chat probably knows who it is. It's the kid from Iowa, Brandon Smith or something.
Oh, I have to take a look at him. Let us know. I know the chat knows everything, man. It's just my guy named Doza, man. He's like a walking encyclopedia, him and Matto. Let's see here. It will be 6 if they need an extra special teams guy. Yeah, I can agree with that. I heard a lot of people have questions about Simi now. He is not a route runner. And big physical body, 4.2, 4.3 speed. I don't need crispy routes. And for some reason now, you know, a lot of Cowboys fans, and I see you guys online, are starting to cherry pick some of these wide receivers. Because you're trying to like cherry pick my guy TJ Vasher as well. Like, oh, he can't run routes. Like, you don't have to run routes when you're just bigger, taller, stronger, and faster than people. Like, you can just run past them and jump and catch the ball. Like, it is what it is. Michael Gallup isn't the best route runner, right? But he's a big physical body.
They're getting those types.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's a reason for that. Shout out to my guy Jim Laws. What's up, J Tuck? What's going on, bro? Although I could see Cox have a certain role for a few games, especially against athletic tight ends. Yeah, you know, when we play Atlanta, possibly. And, you know, we also got the Raiders and we got the Chiefs. And so we got some of those kind of hybrid tight ends that can do a lot more. Maybe that's when you'll see Jabril Cox comes into play. But you can't let those be his first reps. You can't, like, all right, welcome to the NFL, kid. Here you go. Here's Darren Waller. Have at it. Like, nah. So I think they're going to get him some reps here in situational reps. But like I said, it'll probably be either mid-season, late season, or like my guy Nick said, year 2. He can run routes. Just had a limited route tree at Stanford. Yeah, he wasn't required to do much. So yeah, I definitely agree. My guy Jim asked, what about Chauncey Golston? Like, I'm high on Chauncey Golston, Mike. How do you feel about Chauncey Golston and what he brings to this defense?
He might be another guy that redshirts a year and takes Dorrance Armstrong's spot in a year. Mm-hmm. Dorrance Armstrong and Hill got my 9th and 10th spots on the D-line. They were the last 2. So either one of those could miss, you know, and bring more playing time for Golston. But mm-hmm. I think ideally he's a guy that backs up Tank because he's an edge setter, right? And he can come in and you don't lose that. You know, when Tank goes out, people are like, just run to the right side, you know. And Dorrance Armstrong tries his best. He has long arms. He fits what Quinn likes. But I think Golston's in there. Let Dorrance Armstrong go at the end of the year. Give the kid a year in the weight room. And then he comes in. And if there's injuries, he plays. But if not, let him redshirt. And he could be an edge setter for Tank going forward, be the backup there.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think that's where you're going to see him most now. You know, like I said, if something goes with DeMarcus Lawrence, or we want to keep DeMarcus Lawrence fresh so that way he's kind of revved up for playoffs and different things like that. That is where you're going to see Chauncey Golston. Now he's going to have to compete with Dorrance Armstrong. What we do with Bradley Anae, y'all ask me this question a lot on Twitter. I don't know. I think he might be the odd man out, man, to be honest with you. I just don't see how Bradley Anae fits with what Dan Quinn typically does. Now, if we're more of a 3-4, and I knew that we're going to be a 3-4, okay, we can talk about Bradley Anae. But even in that capacity, we have a lot more depth from a 3-4 standpoint than we had last year. So, Mike, Bradley Anae, is he out? Is he going to be able to be an Instagram model and chill out in Hawaii and Aloha and all that stuff and be done in Dallas? Or do you think he's kind of has a place in Dallas?
I am like Bradley Anae super stan. He's not going to make the team.
Gotcha.
They're going to try to get him on practice squad, but he was so productive. Somebody's going to pick that guy up. I can't see the way where he fits when you look at what Quinn likes. So he doesn't have the measurables. I was going over his thing for the piece, and he doesn't have one measurable that's in the top 75%.
Right.
Arm length, cone, shuttle, any of them. So he's super productive, right. and you want to see him get snaps, but I just don't think he fits. So yeah. I think he's not going to make it.
Yeah,
it makes me very sad.
Bradley Anae is just a football player. He's a pure football player, but the measurables is not there. He's not the sexiest measurables. Like, you look at it, you're just like, ugh. But when you put him on the field, he just makes things happen. So like I said, he'll be one of those players that we try to get through on the practice squad, but I doubt he clears waivers. He'll be picked up somewhere else. But I know my guy Nick says, got to fit Anae, his gold jacket. No, might not be in Dallas. And he might be one of those guys that we're looking across the NFL on Sunday ticket or whatnot. And I'm like, all right, there goes Bradley Anae causing havoc. But I just don't see how he fits, man. Let's see here. Matt Owen says, crazy stat. Iowa hasn't had a wide receiver record a catch in the NFL since 2007. Undrafted free agent Brandon Smith maybe breaks that trend. So
that's it. Brandon Smith.
Brandon Smith.
I got his name right.
Yeah, there you go. Jim Law's fantastic. He got those amazingly long arms. 100. Crum, the super stand. You got a hashtag, man. My guy Tyler gave you a super stand, man. So yes,
I am.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and dive into a few things, man. Like I said, I want to take a look here at the NFL schedule.
Yeah, I got it here.
All right. So as we know, the Dallas Cowboys start off opening night. We're gonna be in the house. We're gonna be loud. We're gonna represent down there in Tampa against the Tampa Bay Bucks. How are you feeling, Mike, when we got the schedule rolled out the other day? Are you feeling too heavy loaded at the front? How are you feeling when we look at the schedule?
I think you got to survive the first 4.
All right.
You get through the first 4 at 2-2, and you're pretty happy. Like, I know Dallas fans don't want to hear that right now, but looking through the first 4, you get out of that. Carolina's a sneaky tough game.
Yeah.
Sneaky tough game. It's sandwiched in between 2 home division games.
Right.
And they're not a sexy team. So you get up for a Monday night football game against the Eagles.
Right.
Then on a short week, you got to, get ready for Carolina. Like,
right.
And they have an easy opening schedule. So they can be 2-0, 2-1, 3-0, and kind of on a roll. So just sneak through this first 2-2. If you go 3-1, great. If you go 4-0, great. But don't be discouraged if you're 2-2. Get through these first 4. Your rookies acclimate. Your offense gets back. Dak gets back. The offensive line gets back. The schedule eases up a lot after that. So just survive the first quarter.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, the one thing that kind of alarmed us when we spoke about this on our schedule reveal show, shouts out to Professor O, my guy Nick Spoon Mariella, is that bye week, man. The bye week's a little too early, and especially with our team and our injury history. So that's the one thing that really scares me. But like you said, I think kind of that first quarter, as you'll say, will be how we set the tone. Like, we come out the gate and we're like 0-2, and then we show against Philly, then lose to the Panthers. We kind of go through this lethargic type of, what we did last year. Then things can get a lot tougher for it, because I believe the division's going to be a lot better than last year. I know a lot of people like the NFC least and whatnot, and no quarterbacks. I think that the division's going to be a lot tougher next year. So I expect a lot of improvement. So I don't expect the Cowboys to run away with it. So you don't want to give that closed league where we're going down to the dog days of December, having to win this last game against the Eagles and different things like that. So I hope the Cowboys really come out and take care of business. And I think them being slighted so much, I think it's going to be a different focus. A full off season. You have camp. I think majority of Cowboys players will be at OTAs and different things like that. You have preseason. It's plenty of time for Dan Quinn and Mike McCarthy and Kellen Moore to have a full game plan in place to prepare for Tom Brady and Tampa on that Thursday night game. So I'm feeling optimistic about this season. I know a lot of people in the chat are as well. Another game that kind of stood out to me was the Saints game. The Saints game has always been a tough matchup for us. We don't know what their quarterback situation will look like at that point. But, Sean Payton always gets up for Dallas. It's going to be in New Orleans, especially what we did to them that Thursday night game back in 2018. So they're going to be kind of looking for revenge after that. And then Cardinals game, week 17. You never know how the Cardinals are going to be. They are a team that pretty much dog walked us last year, to say the least. And so, with Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, and they have some wide receiver cores. They also got Zaven Collins in the draft, so they also improved a little bit as well. Kind of get into the thick of things. It can get tough for us, but that's if you saw my meme today on Twitter. Wild thing, Zeke, this is when we're going to need that closer to really come in, in that fourth quarter, not only the season, but of these games, and really close things out and get these wins. So I'm excited about this season, Mike. I know you are. I know everybody in the chat is. Blindly, it's kind of going on a hunch. As things currently stand, where do you see our record being?
I have us at 11-6, 12-5. So I think we'll be doing good. And I think the Giants and Washington could both be in that 8 to 10 game win range. So we're going to need the 11 wins. So if you made me bet, I'd probably say 11-6, but 12-5 is probably going to be my prediction.
It sounds about right. That sounds about right. Given no injuries, just kind of everything as is. Now, I'll say this. If we don't get the 10 wins, we got to start looking at Mike McCarthy a little funny. And if you watch my channel, me and Mike McCarthy had kind of been on this, riff. I told him I would chill out if he beat Philly. He ended up beating Philly, and so I was like, all right, we're cool. But we'll see how things go. But it's like, I expect to see a lot more from Mike McCarthy this coming up season than I saw from him last year. I feel like last year was not what I expected. I saw a lot of lethargic. I saw a lot of head-scratching moments go on, and I did not expect that from a coach of his caliber. I thought we got past that when we moved on from Jason Garrett era. But even going to that last game versus the Giants, when he didn't throw the flag, I'm just like, bro, what are you doing? Like, just throw the damn flag. And he's just like, I couldn't see it. It was delayed. I'm just like, good riddance. And then he kind of bombed the draft a little bit for me. So I was like, all right. So we're kind of just hop in the chat real quick, man. Let's see here what's going on. My guy Nick says, too bad Jokes isn't on the roster anymore. Sai still Team Jokes. Yeah, he's gone. I think we lose to Arizona late in the season. Yeah, I can see that happen. Let's see here. Young Gree 585 survive. They need to come out strong early. Yeah, I think they need to set the tone. I think the Cowboys need to come out and set the tone. We cannot see the same type of mistakes that were happening last year. I mean, if we come out and I'm sitting there, y'all, in that stadium, at Raymond James Stadium, and Zeke's fumbling and we're getting off the slow starts and Leonard Fournette's just running the ball down our throat, it's not going to be good, man. It's not going to be good. That's why I decided to stay on the beach for that vacation, because I'm like, if they piss off this vacation, I'm at least having some time to relax. But, I need to see some improvement, man. And I think that's the most important thing. And I think they will. I think just the excitement of having their quarterback back, having a healthy offensive line, I think that the Cowboys are going to be recharged. I've been saying for months, I think that we are more the team we saw opening night last year versus the Rams versus what we finished the season with. I feel like that's who we truly are. I feel like things just kind of got a little iffy and things kind of fell off the rails. But for the most part, I feel like the Dallas Cowboys are contenders in the NFC, like, period. And I just feel like that, even with the defense and the question marks that we've spoken about, I still feel comfortable saying with our offense still intact, we can compete with any of these teams in the NFL, because a lot of teams have their question marks as well, besides maybe Kansas City, but that is what it is. I believe we're going to blast Arizona because they laughed at us last year. Yeah, I think so as well. I think they're going to actually take that into consideration, because it was bad. I almost turned that game off. I was like, I can't watch any more of this. Zona's offense will be scary. Yep, that will be. Let's see here. 4 out of the last 5 divisionals. Sheesh. Oh, yeah, Tyler. That's how they do it, man, because it builds up with that NFC East and all that prime time. You have an extra game you can flex. The NFL is all about money, and they know what they're doing with the NFC East, because I don't like that Washington sandwich, right? That big Washington sandwich at the end of the year where we play Washington, then we got to play the Giants, and then turn around and play Washington again. Like, nah, like that. Nah. Like, they could have just tossed up the Cardinals into one of those games and maybe shifted things around, but yeah, it is kind of bad at the end of the season. So, but that's what you got to do. You got to win those games and, get some momentum, go into the playoffs and do different things like that. If you want to be proven to be a Super Bowl caliber team, I know a lot of Cowboys fans are like, they want this kind of cupcake schedule and different things. And even though they say our schedule is like one of the easiest, I don't see that. Like, I don't see it, Mike. I don't think you see it as well, because Tampa's no slouch, Chargers are no slouch, Eagles, all right, Panthers are no slouch, Giants are no slouch. The list goes on and on and on. So just going off a strength of schedule based off of last year, I've never been a fan of that, because teams improve over the offseason, unless you're the Dallas Cowboys, right? So, yeah, I feel like for the most part, we have a tough schedule, and there's a lot of quality opponents and quality quarterbacks. I mean, even if you look at the Atlanta game, how things went last year, and now you add on the caliber of a Kyle Pitts on that offense, and who knows what they're going to do with Julio, it's going to be another tough matchup. So it's an interesting season, but I'm very optimistic about it. We will have a top 3 offense. Yeah, I can see that, Geechee. I can see us having a top 3 offense, and I can see our defense being 17-20. That's where I have us at. Now, Lord forbid, y'all, if our offense slides, if our offense slides and we're out of the top 15, oh Lord, oh man, I'm gonna have a meltdown on this. So yeah, you gotta speak those words, man. But yeah, that's the one thing, because that's the one thing that's keeping all this afloat is our offense, right? See, Jim Law says CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper, Zeke, Tony Pollard, X factors like Zimmy or Vasher, we're going to be a nightmare. Yeah, and I think that's what a lot of Cowboys fans have to just calm down, relax, breathe, right? As much as teams are a matchup nightmare for us, we are the same for a lot of defenses around the NFL as well. Like that's the point. And that's why we were so heavy on this Pitts train, because we're already a matchup nightmare. Let's just blow it off the rails. Like let's just go overboard with it, right? But I feel like even with Blake Jarwin coming back, Dalton Schultz getting a full season under his belt, I feel like our tight end position is going to be solid. Like, I'm very hopeful about this offense, man. I feel like Kellen Moore, he has to improve in the red zone, we all know. But adding a semi, having Blake Jarwin back, maybe Vasher in certain occasions, it helps. And so I think that you'll see a great turnaround with the Dallas Cowboys offensively. And I think that we're going to see a different Ezekiel Elliott. Now, from the standpoint of Ezekiel Elliott, I feel like he's going to be used in a lot more effective ways than he was last year, right? I felt like when Dak went down, we kind of went back to, dive right, dive left, off tackle here and there. I like to see Zeke in space. I like to see him in the pass game, screen games. It's just being involved in different areas because he creates different opportunities for you going back to that Rams game. What's your thought on Zeke, Mike?
Do we get Tyron Smith, Lyle Collins, and Zach Martin healthy for at least 12 games?
Yes.
Then he's a top 3 rusher in the league, and he kills for us. So, yeah, he's going to be fine. I think fantasy wise, if we want to go fantasy a little bit, add that in for him. Mm-hmm. Fantasy, he's going to be one of the best steals because he's going to drop a little bit right now.
Right.
He's going to go in that 8 to 10 range now. And smart people are going to be waiting to scoop him there, and he's going to win people leagues the next 2 years.
Yeah, I told Zeke, stop dropping his workout videos, man, because I'm trying to finesse how I get you in my keeper league, man. Like, you're killing me.
Yes.
Yeah, because, like, every one of my fans are like, oh, Zeke sucks, I'm dropping. I'm like, yeah, like, all right, bro, like, just, you got to post it every day, maybe a few here and there. But I'm like, gee. So all you see is Zeke's looking leaner. I'm just like, okay. But yeah, I think that Zeke is going to have a dominant season next year. And I feel like, not just because of the offensive line, I just feel like having Dak back and some continuity with this offense is going to help Zeke. I feel like last year, teams knew, like, all right, bro, we'll let Andy Dalton or Ben DiNucci or Garrett Gilbert beat us. He's not going to beat us. And they knew that. And they were, especially behind a makeshift offensive line, they were preparing for that, right? You got Terrence Steele, you got,
Brandon Knight,
you had Connor McGovern out there, like so many different people in rotation. They knew what to take advantage of, and they wasn't going to let 21 beat us. So I feel like this year, now from my standpoint, Zeke got to hold on to the damn ball. Forget everything else. That fumbling stuff, that has to go away. But I feel like, it kind of got in his head last year. And all athletes go through a slump. But I think that we'll see a return of Zeke. I think absolutely he'll be top 3 running back next year. And a lot of people online are going to have to eat crow. But don't worry, I got those receipts, though.
Motivation is the word for this season for Dallas. Yeah. Dak's motivation, Zeke's motivation, the O-line coming back, and that whole defense. They are all going to be motivated. That's going to be a big word for this year.
And that's exactly how I like it, man. There's a chip on your shoulder, motivated. Not everyone's throwing roses at their feet. And we're going to have to see how things kind of work out, man. So, like I said, I don't want to keep it too long, Mike, but I've been trying to answer a few more questions before I let you go.
You're good, man.
Cool. Let's keep cooking, man. Keep cooking, man. Let's just see here. Good news is we don't play murderous row of top quarterbacks, mostly average to below. Yeah, I mean, you can say that. I mean, we got Brady, we got Mahomes, we got Ryan, Cousins, and what's his name? Murray, Herbert. And so I mean they're decent, they're enough, we got the pretty much the main 2 though, so it's like all right with Brady and Mahomes, and so they make up for some of it. But I think for the most part, man, like I said, my biggest fear defensively is that the run defense takes a leap forward and the passing defense takes a leap backwards, because it's like we can't just switch, right? We need some consistency across the board. Let's see. Remember when we played Philly in the playoffs after week 17? Won't be worse than that scenario, and we spanked them both times. Yeah. So, I mean, it happens. Like I said, in order to win a Super Bowl, you're going to have to go through some turbulence throughout the season and some tough matchups. And if it is closing out the division to win and get in, is exactly what you got to do. And so, not to mention we have Rowdy as a mascot, elite. Yeah, my guy Matt O, man, he's trying to cancel Rowdy, man. He's trying to blame Rowdy for all of our losses. It's his fault that we're even in the season. So I think he said since Rowdy's been implemented as the Dallas Cowboys mascot, that's when everything kind of fell through the cracks. Right. But like we don't need Rowdy because, like I said, we got Jerry Jones as the mascot. So, let's see here. We can't guarantee health. Yeah, and that's a good thing, D. Shiv, about the guaranteed health. I feel like if that's the one thing defensively this draft did was it added depth. What would you say to that, Mike? Do you agree?
Oh, yeah. That was the key to this draft. Defensively, they could rotate out in the front seven almost every position. And safety is not bad. Now, they're young, but they have bodies they can rotate out. The worry, of course, is cornerback. Right. I'd love to get one vet. I know people jump off the shark with Richard Sherman, but man, putting him out there and letting Boss Man slide some more to nickel and stuff would not be a bad thing.
Yeah, and I feel like that's my thing is like, and that's why I was so kind of on the Boss Man pick, because like I need someone who I know is going to be day one ready. And I feel like from our standpoint, Cowboys fans, we argued and we really took J.C. Horn and Patrick Surtain for granted in this draft. We're like, oh, we'll get either or. And I feel like once they got taken off the board, it was just like, oh shit. Like, wait. That wasn't the plan. Like, hold on, what do we do now? And so it's going to be really hard to see if Boss Man's going to be ready, because think about it, if he's not, then we kind of roll out there with Anthony Brown, Jordan Lewis, and Diggs, and it's, oh, God. Yeah, so that's my biggest concern. But now if you would have added a Richard Sherman or a Poole or a Casey Hayward, just one guy who's been there, who knows what the hell he's doing, I would have been a lot better. Like, hell, if I would have just got Cheeto back, and then you want to give me Boss Man as kind of his replacement, I'd have been okay with that. But I feel like Boss Man has to be serviceable day one, ready to go. And the bad part about that, he has killers lined up across from him day one going against Tampa. So there's no kind of warm-up game, where you're playing against Philly or some of these lesser caliber teams. You're going to be sitting across from Mike Evans and Antonio Brown and, Godwin and Gronkowski. And, like, it's just going to be like, all right, bro, I hope you're ready, because he's only had about 14 to 15 games of college football. And
then here comes the greatest route runner in the NFL, week 2, Keenan Allen.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Enjoy that.
Yeah, exactly. And then you get your revenge matchup of Devontae Smith, right? And it's like, all right, man, hold on tight. So, Boss Man, I'm pulling for you. Let's see here. Let's see. Oh, creepy name, bro. I have candy in my van. Zeke is a solid fullback, not a running back anymore. Yeah. Not the case. Let's see. Health in the offensive line and improvement on the defense. Yep, that's what we need. Crazy to imagine having Reddy and Gregory for a full offseason. Yeah, this is going to be like one of the first times ever that we had Randy Gregory for a full offseason. So what are your thoughts on Randy Gregory, and can he produce for a full season? Because he's kind of always giving us flashes. It's like, all right, coming off suspension, hey, Randy Gregory's back for a few games and playing for 5, 6, 8 games. But do you think that he's going to be the caliber end that can last, full NFL season and really be productive from what we're accustomed to seeing from him?
Man, if he's there, that's the key. I again, going back to I'm not promoting this thing, but the writing I did about the defensive line, the Randy Gregory never had more than 40 snaps in a game. And he had like 16 quarterback pressures, 12 quarterback hits, 3.5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles. Like he can make plays. Right. And he did that with tank only. Like they had no DT help. He's one of those guys that knows how to get a corner if you leave him one-on-one. And so if you can get Gallimore and Urban and Bohanna and them to eat up some blocks and take some pressure off Tank and Gregory, they could be really special off the edge. Yeah. But the question is, can you count on him? Will he be there? So if you see him there and he makes it through training camp and he's there week 1, he'll produce. You just got to get him there.
Right. Yeah, I agree. It was going to be interesting, but now we also have depth in-house that if in case of an emergency, now we have some guys that can step in and kind of fill that void versus last year. If Randy Gregory, we were like counting the count, like, when's Randy Gregory coming back? But now, if Randy Gregory gets winded or he just can't last a full season, then we can bring in some of the guys that we've spoken about and possibly keep this train rolling. So that's the one thing I can say about this draft is depth. It's depth. It wasn't the smash, home run type draft that we had last year, But I say from a depth perspective, we added what we needed. But let me get your thoughts on this because this is kind of been in conversation as well. That 99th pick, right? Nashawn Wright. Where are you when it comes? I already see you shaking your head.
Oh.
So what are your thoughts when it comes to Nashawn Wright?
That was bad. I had to go watch him, and I watch a lot of guys. Like I'm not lazy with my tape. Didn't think he was a draftable player. He just doesn't turn. He just doesn't turn and run well on tape. Now, I only got to see about 2 games and a quarter. So maybe I got 2 bad games as far as turning, but you look at, was he overdrafted? Yes. Okay. Yeah, he was. Jabril Cox could have been 75 and Nashawn Wright is in like the 200s,
right?
And nobody would have cared. But because of where he went, he's going to be very, one side's going to be very, we have low expectations. So anything we see from him is going to be, oh my God, this guy's Brandon Browner. Right. And then the other side's going to be anytime he gets beat or is inactive or doesn't play, you're like, what the hell did we waste the top 100 pick on him?
Right.
He
batted a pass down in practice today.
And I think he got a diving interception.
Oh yeah. Boom.
Yeah. So he has done well in the rookie mini camp. It's rookie mini camp, but it's the first step. And so he's on the team. Like I didn't like the pick, but he's on the team and I can see the vision of it. They want him to get his hands on people. They don't care how he turns and runs. Stop the guy from getting out of their break and then let the defensive line get to the quarterback before. He's the type of guy, though, if you don't get pressure on the quarterback, he's going to get beat a lot. Right. So his pick is going to come down a lot to what they do in that front 7 and how they get pressure.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And like I said, you might see him sparingly in a few different packages where it's a big nickel or, maybe just like, a dime or a quarter. But for the most part, I don't expect to see him on the field frequently. Now, here would be an interesting conversation if he comes to camp and he beats, boss man out of his position. And that'll be interesting, man. But I don't see that's going to happen. But, I think he's just going to remain that head scratcher unless he just booms. And, it makes Dan Quinn and Will McClay look like the draft masters of this thing because it was just a head scratch. I know my guy, Professor O, has spoken about him. And I only know him, like I said, this becomes the last chance you, and I know his brother. So it's like, all right. But it's cool story, but nah, not what was there still available. So we'll see. The question's already been asked, but we'll kind of go over this again about Israel Mukuamu at the free safety. Do you think that's going to be something that we're going to see this year, or will that be another kind of slow play just down the road, maybe 2 to 3 years from now?
I think it's crazy that we drafted the best DB out of South Carolina in the 6th round. Isn't that crazy?
Ooh, Geechee. I'm gonna get my guy Geechee on you.
I love Horn. Basically, Horn's a beast. That's a joke. Mukuamu should not have been a 6th round pick, though. Right. It's if you watch his 2019 tape where they told him just play corner, he graded out better than Horn. Now, Horn is a 1st round pick. That guy's a killer, but Mukuamu should have went the 3rd round as a corner, and he fell to that Will McClay. Will McClay drafts safeties in the 6th. That's what he does. And they're going to put him back there. And I think if KZ goes down, that he could get some snaps in that area. But I think another guy that's going to be unless there's injury, he's going to be a redshirt guy. Those day 3 guys are going to be guys that we go in season 2022 and 2023. And we go, damn, Dan Quinn killed in this draft. He got us. Jabril Cox is covering tight ends down the field. Israel Mukuamu is taking away the deep 3rd, playing great. Simi Fioku came in for Michael Gallup and he's balling. That day 3 is going to be a draft where Will McClay looks really great. It's just we have to be patient. Right. It's going to take a year or 2.
Patience. Yeah, I agree. So what do you think that means for Reggie Robinson? Is he going to be kind of get the Bradley and Nye treatment as well?
I can't imagine him cutting him. He fits what Dan Quinn wants. He's tall. He's big.
Right.
I don't get the safety thing. He is built for a cover 3 corner. He's got size and speed. He turns really well. I never got why they moved him over. Right. Yeah. Now he may still go. I don't know where he's going to go. Honestly, I think he makes the team because I think he's valuable at 2 different spots and he fits what Quinn wants. Mm-hmm. But I honestly don't know how they're going to use him. But he's not like Bradley the Nye. He has the measurables that they like. Yeah, they just didn't play him. And in college, he killed special teams.
Right.
And
he even had to play on special teams even last year.
Yeah, and they just didn't give him snaps. And so when you redshirt like that, it's rough because you go into the next year going, okay, a new DC, where does he play? You know, how much did the year in the NFL, even though he didn't get snaps, how much did that help him?
Right.
So we're gonna have to see. That's one guy I would love to like break down for you and give you this and that. But I have no effing idea.
Yeah, because you really have to go through Tulsa. But I think the good part about it is that now since we're going to have a preseason, we can actually see Bradley and I, and also Reggie Robinson for ourselves. Because last year we was kind of just going off of what we're hearing based off of tweets and different things like that. And we can never really pinpoint, all right, why aren't they getting any reps? Like I said, I always go back to that New York Giants game when Bradley and I, he came off the edge, he read the bootleg, he almost had a sack, and it was just like, all right, we're done with them. I'm like, well, that was a high-graded play, so what did he do wrong? And so
he was in limited snaps. He was our highest graded defensive lineman for like 5 weeks.
Right.
He just couldn't get any snaps.
And so, like, yeah, this year, you know, granted, Mike McCarthy might try to pull the old switcheroo on the blue and white scrimmage again, like he did on his last year. But now I know fans will be in Oxnard. You know, we'll have preseason games, so we can actually see. All right. Reggie Robinson, he's not a corner. He's a safety we can see for ourselves. Now, granted, take that with a grain of salt because they don't listen to us, obviously, based on our mock drafts. But I think that would be easier for us to grasp the concept, okay, to see actually what's really going on. So, let's see. North of Star said, we are 5 years down the road. Zeke was taken to be the final piece of Romo's team. He helped develop a fourth-round quarterback that is the franchise. Maybe he makes it with or without Zeke, but Zeke helped. Yeah, Zeke was definitely an important piece of that whole 2016 run and what we do here. I don't know why fans, I feel like Zeke took on a lot of the bullets last year because Dak was gone. But I think next year, once Dak is back, everybody will be Dak this, Dak though, and then Zeke can kind of do his thing and kind of fly under the grid.
Just don't fumble.
Just don't fumble. That's my only knock with Zeke. It was the fumbling. Like, bro, I can and I can see it mentally getting in his head. And I can tell this because I played the game of football. You know, we've all been around it. You know, when you start changing your wardrobe from the sleeves to the non-sleeve, like it's already in your head, bro. You're already thinking about it. You're done. So, stop that. Dak MVP revenge season. Yeah. So, do you think that Dak could possibly be the year of the MVP season for Dak Prescott?
If he's healthy, he's going to be top 3 votes. Yeah. His offense is so good. People forget, like, Kellen Moore had 4 different quarterbacks and ended up, I believe, the 14th best offense.
Right.
Like, with forget the quarterbacks, he had no offensive line, none.
Right.
He didn't have a guy that could play. Connor Williams was his best offensive lineman. People hate Connor Williams.
Right.
I don't. I think he's fine. He's a solid left guard. He's nothing special, but he's a good starter if you have all your other guys. But he was our best guy last year. So he had no line and 4 different quarterbacks and still ended up in the top half on offense. Like he's really good. Dak will definitely be an MVP candidate this year.
Yeah. So let's give you a little over or under, right? So my guy Geechee has Dak 5,000 yards, 40 touchdowns. Under both. Under both. Okay.
Yeah. And Zeke's going to get some runs.
Then he has Zeke 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns. Over or under?
Over the 1,200, barely. I think he sneaks. I think he's in the 1,200s.
Okay.
8 touchdowns feels around that. I'd probably go under because they have so many weapons.
Right.
But he around 8, 7, 8. It sounds about right.
Yeah. I would say about even or over for Zeke. For Dak, I would say slightly under. I wouldn't say 40 touchdowns. I would say around like 32 to 35-ish, give or take. But
does he count running or is it just throwing?
Good point.
Because if he's running, he's going to be in that 37, 38 range, I think. Right. 32 passing, 4 or 5 running.
If he's still utilizing his legs, I think he will. So that's
yeah.
I think for us, as Cowboys fans, we're all going to hold our breath when he takes off. Like, just get down and slide, bro. I don't care about the extra yards. I don't need them. So but I think this will be the season where a lot of people start to look at Dak Prescott and give him his damn credit, because you'll see him go toe-to-toe with Tom Brady. You'll see him go toe-to-toe with Pat Mahomes. And let's say, for instance, it's a shootout and the Cowboys lose to 3 to Tampa Bay and we lose by a late field goal to Kansas City. I feel like that would be enough to finally shut people the hell up and be like, all right, this guy deserves. Well, yeah, that's true. Who am I kidding? I'm a fairy tale.
Nick Herrera's best friend on Twitter, Eric Roth. I call all the Dak haters Eric Roths.
Oh,
and your boy Nick, who's been commenting, Eric Roth. No matter what happened, like he goes, Darnold's better. Darnold, like he's had 17 quarterbacks better than Dak Prescott, and like 11 of them aren't in the league, and 5 of them are backups now. Like, so they have this narrative, and if we lose 42-38 and Dak is perfect and throws no interceptions and never fumbles and doesn't take a sack.
The big one.
Exactly.
Right.
He didn't do it at the end. He didn't get it. The Seattle game, he comes all the way back, gets ahead. The defense gives it up. Well, see, Dak can't beat Russell Wilson.
Right.
I'm like,
right. Yeah. For some of the fan base and his people outside, he can't win anything over with them. But at this point, who gives a damn? Like the real ones who watch my channel, who watch your channels and podcasts and different things like that, they know what Dak represents for this team, and we're damn happy to get him back, because we've seen last year what life was like without him, and I damn sure ain't going through that again. So, yeah, man. Let's see here. A few more questions. Let's see. 2016 offense was 13-3, due mainly to the fast starts, and the one time we didn't come out fast, we lost to Green Bay in the shootout. Yeah, I think that's the one thing the Cowboys have to get over, is the slow starts, and that's even going back to Jason Garrett era. We always came out with slow starts. Me personally, and Matt O, you might be the guy for this, to get how effective the Cowboys are when we run a fast-paced offense versus a huddle. Like, I feel like the Cowboys, even going back to Romo, like, when we go no huddle, hurry up, we were so much more efficient. And it's just like, I don't know. Like, and I think that the Cowboys they try to implement tempo a little bit in certain occasions last year. Like, I like when the Cowboys go tempo, man, because I feel like we're more effective and we're just taking what the defense gives us and we're just carving and marching things up down the field, and it gets the defense off balance. So I expect to see a lot more creativity next year when it comes with Kellen Moore and how he's going to utilize these weapons that we have in place. Dak's going to have Brady pounding in the locker room after the game. Yeah, and Parsons going to lay a hit on that boy, man. Like I said, I can't wait till Parsons lays that first big sack on Tom Brady. And then Boss Man gets his interception, pick 6, man. We're going to be out there rumbling and rapping in the end zone, man. So, my guy, Mike, man, I appreciate you coming on, man. Before I let you go, tell everyone they can find you at, my guy.
At CD Piglet is the Twitter handle. Also, at ATB Cowboys Podcast is the podcast. Paul Becerra and LP Cruz, they do a lot of work on there so that I can come on and talk 85% of the time. So I appreciate them. So make sure to follow and get on that, guys, because they do a lot of really good work.
Yeah, absolutely. Shouts out to my guys, man. I have to get them on here soon too. Like, I appreciate you for coming on, Mike. Like I said, does incredible work. As you guys see, I like this guy. The name it says, I have candy in my van. I like this guy. Oh, I don't know if you want to take the head.
I'm nervous about that. I'm diabetic. So I'm diabetic. No candy.
Yeah, no candy, man. But Mike, I definitely appreciate you. And for everyone in the chat, man, I appreciate you for rocking with us tonight. Of course, comment, like, subscribe, turn that notification bell. The channel is growing at a rapid pace, and I cannot do this without you guys. Also, follow me on Twitter at JTuck151. Cowboys fans only. You can also catch me on Wednesday nights with my Star Game family. Shouts out to Mary, Spooner, BJ, Nix, and my guy, Professor O. We're going to be on live tomorrow night. So always chime in, man. We appreciate talking Cowboys football with passionate Cowboys fans, man. Geechee, salute to you, my guy, man. I appreciate your work. Mendoza, everyone who rocks with the channel, man. Like I said, we got a long off season, man, but we're going to keep this thing lit. And we're going to build a championship caliber team one way or another, man. So I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Everyone stay safe, stay blessed, stay encouraged, and go Cowboys, man. Let's go ahead and get it, man.